Pardon?
I sincerely hope there is adequate security for this facility.
Oh, this goddamn planet. You romanticize a place when you're away from it for long enough, but I forgot what a dust-crusted pit Mars can be. Now you, what do you need? Oh, nothing. I love having to take a toothbrush to every crate they drag in here. Now you gonna tell me what you need, or can I get back to my work? It's come up on my performance evals. But I know the needs of this facility inside and out, so everyone has to deal with it. Not that it should matter to you. I'm sorry, who are you again? Oh, that's you then. I was informed we might be working together. Don't much care for Vanguard, but sounds like you two really got into the thick of it back in New Atlantis. My sister's kids live in the city, so, thank you for what you did there. Don't think it's a controversial belief that the UC should spend its money on its own people first, rather than doling out credits to pilots from God knows where. But, considering the evidence before me, I guess the program's not a total waste. So, what you did for New Atlantis, I appreciate it. Yeah, they both came through okay. One science division, other's an artist. Effectively useless human beings that would have had no reason to be anywhere near the fighting. Still, would hate to see anything happen to them. Now, what was it you needed? If anyone can pull off something as downright lunatic as that, it's these people. And I'll make sure they've got all the supplies they might need to make it a reality. That's correct. Ran logistics for the Devils for years before getting the assignment here. Military logistics isn't usually thrilling work, but as bone-crushingly exhausting as this job could be, it sure as hell was never dull. Coordinating habitats for nightmares from the far side of Lantana 8B and their favorite breathing snack foods? Sure, why not? Stocking the UC for a rancher who's got 2,000 grade A kilos of biomass he can ship to Mars per week? We call days like that Tuesday. So when I heard things might be opening up again, I put in for my transfer immediately. Don't worry, I'll handle the paperwork.
I hope that we have not ultimately made a mistake in resurrecting this place.
Yes, what?
Always a satisfying moment to return to your ship.
Oh my god! I'm literally following in your footsteps right now! It's so cool!
Attention vessel, you have entered restricted space. Please respond. This world is off limits. You are advised to jump to safe harbor immediately. No, but if you proceed, no one will be coming to rescue you. So do us all a favor and jump back to safe harbor. Now. Tolomon 2 is a biological exclusion zone. Nothing down there but terramorphs and UC soldiers keeping an eye on them. Best course of action is to leave while you're still able. Let me check my logs. Alright, you can proceed. We'll let them know you're on your way down. Jennu again. You're advised to leave this orbit immediately. The United Colonies will not be held responsible for any harm you suffer by proceeding. Critical mission? Oh, you're with the collection team, aren't you? Fine. We'll send word you're on your way down. You're cleared to land.
I hear Constellation has been directing a tower of ruins, ancient things. Do you think people are starting to notice?
Hey there.
Hydrocarbons in abundance.
I have heard of Londinian. Anyone who has spent time in United Colonies space has, of course. Now I understand why the stories persist.
You! Inside the barriers! Double time! You with the Xeno unit? You're heading to command. Far end of the compound. Commander's expecting you. I wouldn't keep her waiting.
I pride myself on knowing everyone on this world, and I don't know you. You're with the collection team then, I presume. Either that, or you're one deeply unlucky trespasser. Vanguard, eh? Brief said you were an eclectic group. You must have really shined out on the fringe to get assigned a task like this. Ah, then this must be the rest of your outfit.
Commander Hatum,
No need for introductions, Major Simon. Dr. Walker, your reputations precede you, as does the urgency of your mission, so I'll get to it. Now, Londinian is one of the most dangerous places in the Milky Way. It's with good reason my soldiers and I do everything we can to avoid entering the city. Terramorphs are omnipresent, and the structural damage left behind when Major Sinon's father bombed its spaceport has turned large swathes of the metropolis into a decaying labyrinth. As such, we'll be providing you all with gear, information, and uploading municipal unlock codes to your robot. Every tool you could need to succeed out there. Except one. Once you're on the other side of those barriers, you will be on your own. If you get into trouble, my people will not be coming. Do we understand each other? The initial Terramorph outbreak that overran Londinian during the tail end of the Colony War came as a complete shock. Waves of the creatures appeared out of nowhere, and the city was quickly overwhelmed. There were some attempts at evacuation, but Ve Victus decided more definitive action was merited. He ordered the spaceport to be bombed, ensuring no other ships could leave the city, halting the spread of the outbreak but leaving large sections in ruins and condemning countless lives. And the intervening 20 years have only made Londinian more hostile, not less. So my people will not be coming for you out there. Understood? We are unwanted guests on this planet, and, as a rule, I don't put my people in any more risk than is absolutely necessary. We've got it hard enough out here. So, no, there will be no cavalry sweeping into the rescue. Terramorphs, and plenty of them, outside our little sanctuary here, much of the planet is theirs. For that reason, we keep our trips into the city to a minimum. That also means our intel becomes largely historical once you go much beyond the defenses. It's also why I want to make sure I'm being crystal clear. Out there, you're on your own. Precisely. I'll leave you to your preparations then. You can find your equipment in our armory, base of the tower just outside. And I do believe there's someone waiting for you there, Captain. Now, once you're outside the base, it's my personal suggestion you make a beeline to the nearby Aceles plant. It contains one of our field caches. Though I can't guarantee it won't contain anything else. I hope you all find what you're looking for out there. Robot, you're coming with me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Commander. Percival, you all set to hook into their comms tower?
Should only take a few minutes. Let's get this done and get the hell out of here.
Percival will be scanning the city for our samples from here. When he finds one, he'll transmit the coordinates to us out in the field.
Pinpoint's a bit strong.
The equipment will be able to get us a rough location of any acceptable samples in the scan area. It'll be up to you, Kaiser, and I to find the things. All right. Head over to the armory and gear up. Once you're done, we'll meet by the entrance to the city.
Transfers complete. Those codes will allow you to temporarily restore power to most facilities in the city. Systems should shut themselves back down automatically.
Duly noted, Commander.
Hello. You match our description. The Vanguard captain? The Cabinet wanted you to have something. Make sure you had the best tools for the task at hand. Now, if you'll excuse me.
I think you may be trying to take a little too much on. Literally.
So tired. I need to get better sleep.
Don't go into the city much. Never for long. Too risky.
Something important, or just... I am happy to help shoulder the load. Look after yourself, hmm?
All set on your gear? Are you ready to do this? Yeah, just pre-mission jitters. You hear about a place for so long, it maybe gets bigger in your head than it should be. But you don't need to worry about me. I'll be all right. Now, are we doing this or not? That's damn right we are. Come on, let's get out there. Kaiser? Percival, everything green on your ends?
I am ready.
Personal comm should be routed through Kaiser now. You copy that?
Roger, loud and clear.
Perhaps too loud.
Oh, you're a riot robot.
Kaiser, kick it off.
Unlock code transmitted. You may open the gate when ready. No hostiles detected by near-range sensors.
On our way into the city. Percival, where are we heading?
Running the first sweep. Got one. A Sealy's. Not far. Old shipping yard just past the processing plant. Gene samples are probably in one of the containers.
Shit. These things, they're all dominated. Clean them out and keep an eye out for the morph controlling them.
Triumphant.
Engaging.
Like the last of them. No sign of the morph, though.
Your shipping yard's just beyond the processing plant. Cache with some goodies is towards the rear of the facility.
Kaiser, we close enough for you to dial in the location of those samples from here?
Yes, they're faint, but I'm detecting multiple valid signatures. I have restored power to the containers.
Jackpot! Get down there and collect as many as you can.
still. I'm going to wear your skin.
Your abilities are...
Something like this.
They're going to turn on you. Kill them. Kill them first. They come along the path to end their living days at last. It's not working. It's never going to work. This is useless. Us. Why did you leave us?
Now hand those over to Kaiser, and let's get out of here.
Samples secure.
Nice work. No. Earlier scan picked up a valid terramorph sample, but, well, it's in the spaceport. And the quick route there looks like it got blasted when the port did.
There are steam tunnels under the city, which will allow us to access the spaceport.
What do you... That's right. Kaiser, how did you know that?
I am not sure.
Percival, you see any better option?
Not from where I'm standing.
Then we've got our answer.
Access unlocked. We may proceed.
Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it?
Confirmed.
You know, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinian. A real marvel. These leeches. What's keeping you things warm? What's that? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, have you seen this? God, the heat leeches are terramorphs.
But heat leeches infest every settlement, every corner of the settled systems. That means that every single one... Oh no.
You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a terramorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby terramorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then, with time, they transform. We just found out how terramorphs move between planets. That I don't have an answer for right now. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults do, the microbe should have no problem dealing with heat leeches and terramorphs. The Aciles we'll have to look into. But given what we know about the creatures, I wouldn't be shocked to find that they've got an appetite for both. No, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere else, well, it wouldn't just be Londinian lost to these things. What we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method. One that winnows 70 years of maturation into seconds. incredible. I am sincerely inclined to agree, but current evidence suggests nature manages it just fine. The Lazarus plant. It's clearly an accelerant for the Terramorph, a heat leach transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a Terramorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, could someone have set that up? But first, you'd have to know the truth about all this.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it!
We may proceed.
Go!
Come then. Meet your death.
Got the cell data from the New Atlantis and Tau Ceti attacks, right?
Uploaded them myself.
Captain, let Kaiser take a look at that sample.
Beginning analysis. It is a match. This suggests with high certainty that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attacks on both planets.
There's no way a plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it is we just stumbled on here? Exactly. Someone saw the Lazarus plant in action and used it to trigger the attacks.
I wonder where they could have gotten such an idea, deploying alien life forms as weapons.
I wouldn't be shocked to find out our team, in part, inspired the approach, but our group never dealt with something that could have an effect like this. Makes some sense, actually. Tau Ceti was likely their first test, someplace remote where no one would question a few settlers going missing. Ensure the big show, the attack on New Atlantis, would be a success. And the timing of that one, it couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the Terramorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion. It can't. At least, I didn't think it could. But maybe if we're right about this, someone found a way. A plant this rare showing up unbidden on 2 different UC planets. I think it's more than just possible that human hands were involved here. But it doesn't answer any of the big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why?
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universe's closest equivalent to hell frozen over. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more Terramorph attacks, human cause or otherwise, We need that final sample.
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way. I am unable to provide sufficient power to the lock mechanism.
Anyone got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
There's the control panel. Still looks operable. Of all the things to survive.
Reactivated. Error. Control system reboot required.
And we do that. Ah, Captain. I think I see it.
Reboot engaged. Running diagnostic. Diagnostic complete. Multiple systems unavailable. Warning, priority safety concern detected. Exterior hatch power restored.
Back in business.
Warning, emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Sanon, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral!
It just transformed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation, they're all in this facility.
Other than our casualties, yes, sir.
Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. I'll send ships as soon as possible.
Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things.
That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk. We're gonna have plenty to discuss once we get out of here. Hey, Victus. He destroyed this place. Killed these people to keep what he knew about the Lazarus plant and the Terramorphs and all this a secret. Didn't he? You heard that recording. He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon and hid it away. He killed those people to keep them from sharing what they might have seen. Condemned this whole city to death. He's...
That is a disgusting way to describe what happened here. Someone who truly knows what it means to command, to be in charge of and responsible for others would never do such a thing.
He decided to sentence his own soldiers to death. What kind of commander is that? But if the plant was used to trigger the attacks, could Vae Victis have been involved in the massacre on New Atlantis? Good point. Deal with one monster at a time. Let's go get that final sample. Kaiser! Try it now!
Unlock successful.
Guys, your sample, it moved. I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That doesn't sound good. Eyes peeled.
Please help.
That's not me. I'm just nulling out the frequency.
There's another one. They're everywhere.
We freed them, and they're helping us.
No signal online. I've still got more capacity. Get to the next dish.
It's working.
One more dish, and I should be able to shut it down completely.
There. It's right there.
No signal at full power. That should be the end of its connection to its thrall. Now hit it with everything you've got.
Join us. Join us
slaughter.
It's here! It's here! Hide! Do it now!
Coming after us. I guess we should grab that sample while we can. Good. Now just stash that sample with Kaiser and we're done.
Final sample secure.
All wrapped up. Time to get the hell out of here. Percival, you should unplug and find somewhere we can talk. Privately.
On it. See you soon.
Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion. Can't be positive until we run some tests. But knowing that the Terramorphs have been masquerading as heat leeches all this time is a big find. Arguably makes things more feasible, now that we know what we're dealing with, not less.
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board with cleaning up one of the galaxy's greatest pests if this is what they're capable of.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. You do have them, right? Ah, best place for them. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Vae Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
It's a bit more complicated than that. Captain, he needs to know. Vae Victus is alive, which means he could have been involved in the attacks.
Alive? He's... Vae Victus? That can't be true, right?
Unfortunately for us all, yes, it's true.
So that means we have a suspect.
I believe that's exactly what that means. Look, Captain, Percival and we need to get these samples back to the lab. Ensure we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the Terramorphs. But Vae Victus is the only solid lead we've got on the attacks. Since you're the only one who knows where he is, can you speak to him? See if you can get him to cough up anything he might know. Captain, I truly don't. He's already shown he's taken an interest in you. I'll be a lot more useful in the lab right now than I would be grilling Francois. So do you think you could do it? Please? Plenty of people out there with grudges against the UC, but he's the only one we know had any knowledge of the Lazarus plant. So right now, it's the only option we've got. Will you do it? Whatever you can turn up is more than we have now. We'll all meet back at Mast, outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to know everything we've uncovered here. Best of luck, Captain. And thank you. for dealing with him.
Sensors picked up quite a ruckus over at the old spaceport. I presume that was your doing.
Any adventure you can fly away from. Is that how the saying goes?
Is it true you're hunting down terror? Wow. Is there anything in the galaxy you can't find? You could probably lasso a whole planet if you wanted.
To leave this orbit immediately. The United Colonies will not be held responsible for any harm you suffer by proceeding.
Our scan detected contraband on board. Halt and prepare to be boarded. All illegal and stolen goods will be confiscated. You're on the wanted list. Halt and prepare to be boarded or we will be forced to open fire. Copy that. Stay on course while we escort you in.
something on your mind?
Authorized personnel only. Your friend has to stay here.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for? I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for? Now, what in the heavens would make you claim something as ludicrous as that? That's quite the claim, Captain. I hate to think what would happen if such a patently untrue statement reached the ears of the Cabinet. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us. Of course. Do I look like I'm in any position to do what you're describing? So I'd very much appreciate your agreement to not share what you found. We wouldn't want anyone else jumping to conclusions now, would we? You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terramorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I. Figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian. Learning to synthesize it. Use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing. All in due time. First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble? You couldn't be more right. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport. Fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's Terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential. These were the final days of the colony war, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of Terramorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinian at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death? It was the only option that made sense at the time. judge now. In that moment, I wasn't about to add another dangerous variable to an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You. Can't remember the many lives you've taken. Orlays was the man whose death you brought about around the moon of Etheria. The pilot of the Warlock. The man I had to eliminate. To hide my secret. It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands. All without the UC realizing whom you were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective. Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though now, I'm not so sure. Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday. Something befitting the dedication to the colonies you two have shown. While of course they can't give you a command, responsibility like that has to be earned. The Cabinet does have access to considerable resources. I expect you'll be quite pleased with the result. And none of it would have happened without my intervention. I'm simply looking for you to acknowledge the truth. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terramorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlez's role in the attacks to the cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlez and Orlez alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together. Hunting down criminals and other threats to the United Colonies. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range once this is all over. You would help me, like you did with Orlez. Track them down, and keep them from doing harm to the United Colonies. Impossible, though, if the cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks. And how many have you killed to get where you are now? There are no great works that don't cost lives, Captain. Whether it's winning a war, or digging a tram tunnel. So we sacrificed a few dozen in the attacks to possibly protect millions. That seems like a fair exchange to me. I only hope you'll see the same, and leave my name out of the discussions to come. Keep the larger perspective in mind, Captain. We've done something great here. Let's not squander the opportunity to do more.
Authorized personnel only. Your friend has to stay here.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Asylees are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terramorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Did my father tell you what he knew about the Lazarus plant?
Orlez? Reginald Orlez? He did this? I didn't think he was still alive. You're sure it was him? Oh yeah. Both worked for UC Defense Research way back when. Different departments, but everyone knew Orlez. Had a mean eye for weapons tech. And a meaner temper. Wasn't exactly a surprise when he fled instead of standing trial after the colony war. But finding out he's taken up mass murder in the years since, that is a shock. You're sure about this?
If he is responsible, let us hope the cabinet deals with it swiftly and harshly.
That's some impressive work. So then give us the rundown. Where's Orlez now? Were you able to bring him in? I'm sorry to hear that. Those sorts of missions are always tough. Any idea why he might have done it? Or what he was doing with the plant? I can't imagine the amount of work it took to deploy the Lazarus plant off-world. Strange to go to all that trouble and not state your reasons.
Well, the man knew how to hold a grudge. I wouldn't be shocked if this was him getting back at the UC for trying to put him on trial.
I guess. Well, at least he won't be able to hurt anybody else now. Might be the best we could ask for, given the circumstances. So I guess there's nothing else to do but get this all in front of the cabinet. Unless there were other things we needed to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the Terramorphs. Asylees aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the Terramorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Asylees, we're at least dealing with known risks. They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Asylees seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti. Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion. Probably best at this point to let the cabinet weigh in, see if they have a preference. And here we go.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true? This report comes from a particularly confidential source both you and I are familiar with, yes. Among the reasons its findings are so alarming. Now, is it true? Was the attack on New Atlantis planned? The second report claims to know the perpetrator as well. Did Reginald Orlais actually commit these attacks, Captain?
You want me to... Well, we believe that report to be correct, ma'am. Reginald Orlais appears to have committed the attacks.
Reginald Orlais? Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Body was found floating around Etheria. Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according to plan.
Ah, yes. I was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orlais might have been involved in the attacks? Only that it would have been preferable if you'd managed to find him before he murdered UC citizens. Now, are you going to answer the question for me or not? Did you already suspect Orlais? Well, it appears you are ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orlais triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the Captain and Major Sinan uncovered.
Simply harrowing.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's justice, it seems both of you are to be commended for ensuring he was dealt with before he could strike again. You have our thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased.
Tell the Freestar Collective. Wow. So they have another tool to utilize against us?
I'm in agreement. I fail to see the value here.
Agreed. Any effort to de-escalate the situation should be considered. Being as open as possible would be a valuable move.
Oh, that is an interesting idea. A grand gesture to further display this cabinet doesn't think like those of the past.
The observers on Mars have proven such a gesture can bear fruit.
So, you want us to make nice with the Collective by sharing our state secrets?
No, I want us to display plainly the UC's actual intentions, that the plant will never be used as a weapon again.
That does sound worthwhile, Chief Kulkarni. Very well. We'll get the Collective involved in the management. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terramorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps? The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the Captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter. Please, ask. The responsibilities will be spread across multiple branches of the UC. Research and day-to-day administration will be handled by a new group under the Science Division. All diplomatic concerns and coordination will fall to Chief Yassine and Interstellar Affairs. But most of the actual on-the-ground work, that'll be handled by the Vanguard. This won't work without them.
Exactly right, ma'am. The Interstellar Affairs Office has already begun reaching out to worlds throughout the settled systems. informing them of the risks we're all facing, and that the UC has a plan to prevent what happened on New Atlantis from happening elsewhere. Thus far, the response has been overwhelmingly positive. The spirit of mutual cooperation displayed between the UC and the Freestar Collective in managing the Terramorph data set a good tone for the work we're doing, Captain. We expect we'll hit some resistance, but our office has plenty of carrots and sticks to ensure the program's widespread success.
Infinitesimally low.
But not zero.
The chance of a starship landing on you as you sit here isn't zero, yet you still attended. Personally, my fear isn't mutation, but Terramorphs developing a resistance. But that's something our group can continue to address if we decide to take this approach, as I believe we should. I can feel this one. While intimidating creatures, certainly, Asylees are docile and less provoked. They're honestly closer to oversized mobile scanners than deadly predators.
The concern is that, while all proposed methods will be long-term efforts, the Asylees are the slowest. Slow to breed, slow to deploy. We do everything we could to accelerate that process, including mustering some of our mothballed cloning technologies. But if we do elect to use this method, we'll be doing things at the pace of a megafauna, which is not an expedient one.
Very well. Then did you have a preference on the method we should deploy? I believe we have a responsibility to do something, yes. Heavens forbid, years from now someone reopens the Pandora's box that Orlais discovered. It falls to us to enact every measure required to ensure that day never comes.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
The first step in a bold new future.
Bolder, better, and brighter. Well, I need to write that one down for later.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division, making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the Cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive. You all have earned it. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sinan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
And as a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you, Captain, will have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Citizen Class 1. Not bad for you and Hadrian doing all the hard work.
Captain, I guess we've got our assignments. I just wanted to say, I could have never guessed where all this was going to lead. But now, knowing what I do, that my past is less of a closed book than I thought it was. Well, I've just spent a lot of my life in pursuit of the truth. So, you bringing it straight to me, it just means a lot.
best ones certainly do. You know, I was thinking, while we were there on the podium, if I wanted to try and see him again. But I knew the answer before I even finished the thought. I didn't. Because confronting him, what would I gain from that? From letting him remind me I can never truly be rid of him? Nothing. Now, all I'd be doing is acknowledging that he still has some sway over my life. And while I can't do anything about his role in my past, I'm not about to let him control my future. And thanks to what we've done together, that future is brighter than it has been in a long time. Words can't do justice to how grateful I am for that. You know I can't do that. I've got an assignment. But I wouldn't be upset if you came by the HQ every now and then. Remind me how much I owe you. Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there.
By the way, Captain, Sergeant Yumi was looking for you. Sounds like he's got more work.
Yes?
Hey.
Good luck on your endeavors, Captain.
Well, when the galaxy learns the truth about heat leeches, they're gonna be begging for our help. And we have plenty of tools to convince the stubborn.
Strategic asset. More like a financial black hole. I don't know why we keep funding to that.
Excuse me?
I've heard you've been making the settled systems safer. It's not much, but take this.
Howdy.
Informed us of your new status.
Congratulations on making Class 1.
Well, well, I've got to say, this is a first. I've never had a Class 1 citizen in my ranks before. Congratulations, Captain. It's a high honor. Have to do something big for the colonies to earn that sort of designation. Only ever met a couple myself, and certainly never given one orders. You should be real proud. No need to thank me. You brought this all on yourself. I've already gone ahead and processed your Class 1 benefits. All UC goods and services should now have a thanks for protecting the colonies discount. And the credits should be in your account now. But to get into your penthouse, you'll have to pay a visit to the Aphelion Realty office. They should be able to grant you access. Just out the front door and across the plaza, by the embassies. Look for the Aphelion sign. Higher-ups wanted to make sure you know how much they appreciate what you've done. But with all that squared, it's time to get you a new assignment. There are your standard Vanguard missions, putting those pilot skills to use defending UC space. Or you could help the TMD in cleaning up terramorphs. Oh, and I got a request from Dr. Walker. Wanted your help collecting biological samples to keep an eye out for any, new alien threats on the horizon. Any of those missions call to you? Sure, he'll have all the specifics. If you find yourself looking for more work, you know where to find me. What can I do for you? Could use a hand clearing out some United Colonies airspace. You interested? Trouble. At least a couple of crafts worth from the sound of it. And we don't expect them to play nice, so you'd be weapons free on this mission. Any level of force required to deal with the threat. So, still interested? All right, let's get you the details. Here we go. Report says ships at these coordinates fired on United Colonies craft. You're cleared to use lethal force if necessary. Crimson Fleet decided to rear their ugly heads. Make them regret it. Good hunting, Captain. Super et Ultra, Captain. Critter cleanup coming up. You ready to head out right now? Oh, I went ahead and authorized the highest specialist pay grade we've got as soon as it was decided you'd be doing this work. You're getting top dollar. So, are you good to get started? Let's get to the details. Okay, these coordinates should get you to your first target. There. These missions are straightforward. Proceed to the location, kill the critter before it can do any more harm. Just be smart out there. Don't want you getting banged up too bad on your first hunt. Super et Ultra, Captain.
Certainly less auspicious than New Atlantis, is it not?
If you are free soon, could we talk?
This is a dangerous assignment, but you all are here because you can handle it. So any questions, concerns, anything at all giving you pause, you come see Dr. Walker or I. Little problems left unchecked become big problems. And we fix big problems here, not make them. Now let's get to work. Welcome, everyone, to the TMD.
Okay. Hello. Pardon. Yes? Excuse
Always
me?
good to have you on site, Captain. Okay, hello.
I am here to support the TMD in whatever capacity it requires. I'm not certain. After the disbanding of the Red Devils and the Xeno-Warfare team, I was put into storage. I do not know how I came to be reactivated, but a partially deleted log suggests sale to a non-military third party. I presume this third party was responsible for transporting me to Nira and providing me with my new directive: eliminate the planet's remaining xeno-weapons. I have no additional data on the subject. My primary work was accompanying Major Sanan and Dr. Walker on field assignments to collect specimens for possible battlefield application. But on more than one occasion, I was actively deployed. My time on Nira, directing Unit 99 and its siblings against Freestar forces, was such a deployment. Major Sanan is responsible for my creation. The work of the Xeno-Warfare team required a vast array of specializations. Field scientists capable of surviving in deadly environs. Soldiers delicate enough to leave dangerous Xeno-life forms subdued, but unharmed. Major Sanan constructed me in an attempt to accomplish all those needs. I believe my field record would show that she was successful. That is correct. Major Sanan is responsible for my creation. The work of the Xeno-Warfare team required a vast array of specializations. Field scientists capable of surviving. Soldiers delicate enough to Major Sanan returning to previous operation.
Interest you in a new assignment? No one else I'd rather have doing it.
My freezer's been on the fritz.
Who
Is there
knows?
any way you could
Probably
solve
need to
something
cut me down and count the rings to figure it out at this point. I joined UC DRIP, Defense Research and Initiative Program, right after graduation. Worked on all kinds of projects, but I fell hard for Xenobio. Way I saw it, nature had already figured out plenty more than we ever will. So, why not just copy some of the answers? Initially, it was a lot of material sciences, using carapace to make tougher ship hulls, biofluids for helmet glass that didn't fog. But when the war started looming, top brass in the UC military had other ideas for what we should be looking into. That's where xenoweapons got started. There was a team before us, set up in some secret base somewhere, that laid down a fair bit of groundwork on the field. But when a lab accident took them down, they called on Hadrian and I to take up the mantle, set in motion everything that's come since. Oh yeah, known each other since the xenoweapons team first set up on Mars. You can imagine my shock when I walked into this place for the first time and found some plucky 19-year-old was gonna be my partner. We were supposed to be co-heads initially, but you've dealt with Hadrian. You can imagine about how long that lasted. But the Major knew her stuff. Saw potential in all her staff and knew how to get the best out of them. Kind of bull only an uncynical woman like Hadrian could pull off. For all the damage that group did, we were, well, We were real tight-knit. Having that back, it's nice. Why? You want to watch an old man squirm? What we did back then, we were trying to win a war. We used every tool we had, tools we were permitted to use at the time, to try and win it. Well, UC did what the situation demanded, just like all of us did. And frankly, it's been too damn long for me to hold a grudge anymore. But at least now, with the TMD, some of that work is finally being put to better ends. Makes looking back a little less painful. You heard right. These terramorph attacks, they caught the UC off guard. UC brass doesn't like that. So, they want us patrolling the front lines of xenological life, ensure we've got intel on any possible new alien threats. Which means, we need someone to track down said aliens, and harvest samples from them. And not just any sample from these animals is gonna do either. We're trying to build a comprehensive picture here, which requires specific cells from specific family lines of some oftentimes unfriendly creatures. But since dealing with unfriendly creatures falls square in your wheelhouse, well, I figured we might be able to recruit you for the task. This isn't the same sort of harvesting you and Hadrian were doing with the Terramorphs. A little will go a long way here. If you can get close enough to these creatures to harvest from them directly, you should be able to collect what we need without killing them. I checked with Lieutenant Gwalter before heading out. A good EM weapon could serve you well on these missions. Though, if heavens forbid, there's no viable option other than putting the things down. We're only talking a select few specimens here. These populations will recover. Pretty much every beast, behemoth, critter, and chimera humanity's run across is on the list. But we can send in-house researchers after the little guys. Your job will be primarily dealing with the, more troublesome species. Glad to hear it. There is just one additional wrinkle. UC spec'd this as a one-person job, but I convinced them this sort of task merits expert backup. So, if you're interested, they've agreed to let you take Hadrian with you. You'll have to convince her, of course, but I don't think she'll fight you too badly. We could use Hadrian here, absolutely, but we have other scientists. Not a lot of other people can go up against apex predators and come home again and again. You and Hadrian are the right people for this job. I expect she wouldn't mind too badly being out there herself, so pay her a visit before you head out. Now, let's get you the details of your first quarry. Here you go. Head there, find your specimens, and bring those samples back here. I'll have a tech waiting outside to collect them from you. And remember, proximity should be all you need to get your samples. Get close, harvest, and get out before they spot you. Take care of yourself out there.
Howdy.
Hey.
A complaint? Like, against one of the security officers?
No, just about the lighting.
Yes. What?
It's too bright. Is that not you guys?
I'm with security. I think you want to talk to someone with facilities.
Oh, okay. I'll do that.
Hello.
Pardon.
Military-grade hardware. I'll be around.
Hey. Yes, what?
Hey. You need something? Okay, I'm listening. What's going on? Things are good. It's nice to see the place cleaned up again. Brings back a lot of old memories. Been great so far. I'm happy to be working with Percival again. I think the TMD's set up to make a real difference in the settled systems. I'm honored to be a part of it. Backup? What does that have to do with me? Maybe. Why do you ask? Come with you? You can't be serious. There's no way Percival would okay that. I have important work to do here with the TMD. No, it's not that. You just caught me by surprise. I figured I'd be at the TMD for the long haul. Expert backup, huh? Sounds like Percival's just trying to get me out of his hair. I don't know about this. Leaving the TMD is a big decision. That's supposed to make me feel better? That old geezer will drive the place into the ground if I let him have his way. But if he wants to lose one of his best scientists to field work, that's on him. We'll see how long he lasts without me. If you really need backup out there, I'll watch your six. You can count on me to pull my weight. I'll always help out in combat, and I'm happy to assist you with any research, too. Having an extra xenosociologist around on this assignment sure couldn't hurt. We'll be dealing with plenty of hostile creatures. Yeah, I think so, too. Thank you for the offer. Really. It was unexpected, but I think this will be for the best. Both for me and for the settled systems. I'll head out soon. I just need to talk to Percival before I go. He's gonna get an earful for arranging this without talking to me about it first. See you, Captain. Yes?
I
have things I wish to discuss with you when you have time. You are a welcome diversion. What do you need?
You're looking as glorious as ever, Captain.
Hey there, hon. What can I do for you? Why not? I've been researching decommissioned technology from the Colony War. Specifically, the mechanized combat units manned by the Freestar Militia's 1st Cavalry. I'd appreciate if you kept your mouth shut about that. Mechs were banned after the armistice, and researching them is strictly illegal. I already got into hot water for my research when I worked at Ryujin Industries. I'd rather not try my luck at slithering out of trouble again. I believe mechs have a lot of applications beyond the battlefield. We could use them for mining, exploring dangerous biomes, and even prosthesis. Banning research into those applications of mech technology was extremely short-sighted, in my opinion. Mechs were outlawed at the end of the Colony War as part of the armistice. The governing bodies of the settled systems felt they were too dangerous to exist. Researching and constructing them is still illegal throughout the galaxy to keep the tech from falling into the hands of one government or the other. Thanks, hon. Glad to know you're on my side. If I get into any more trouble for my research, I'll be sure to keep your name out of it. Of course. Let's talk. When Ryujin found out what kind of research I was doing in their labs, they fired me on the spot. They tipped off Neon Security, too. I was arrested on treason charges. They didn't stick, though. They rarely do, for those of us with enough credits to our name to bribe the higher-ups in Neon. Thank Bayou for that. When I got out, some thugs on Ryujin's payroll encouraged me to leave Neon. That's why I was in such a hurry to leave. You might have saved my life by hiring me. Poor decision-making on my part. I made the mistake of trusting one of my fellow employees with information on what I was doing. He reported me to management. In all likelihood, management made him disappear for it. Ryujin takes the old adage, loose lips sink ships, more seriously than most. They wouldn't want it getting out that one of Drone's employees was doing illegal research. Might shine too much light on what their other departments are doing. Relax, son. The trouble's behind me. Enough credits to your name will get you out of anything in Neon. As long as I keep my research out of the city, Ryujin won't have any reason to come after me. I was employed at Drone, a Ryujin subsidiary dedicated to robotics development and manufacturing. I was part of the team that designed new models. But it wasn't my dream job. I never quite fit in at Ryujin Industries. Management wasn't a fan of some of my more unconventional research methods. The only reason I stayed is because the job got me access to Drone's labs. They had equipment I needed for my personal research. Ryujin Industries is one of the largest corporations in the galaxy. They have subsidiaries in every industry, from beverages to high-performance weapons. The real showstopper in their product lineup is proprietary, though, a piece of wearable tech called a neuroamp. Supposedly they improve brain function. They're all the rage in Neon, but personally I don't buy it. The human mind is too complex to be effectively altered by an external machine. No, I never saw the point. I don't believe they work. Even if I did, I wouldn't use one. My mind's sharp enough on its own. Mechanically augmenting my mental processes seems like cheating myself out of organic thought. The marketing execs at Region would be disappointed to hear that. If they had it their way, everyone in the settled systems would be wearing a neuroamp. Aurora. I'm a regular user. I find the psychedelic effects to be a good stimulant for the creative process. I do some of my best work while I'm tripping. My managers at Ryujin Industries found it distasteful, though. A breach of corporate ethical policy, to quote the official written warning I received about it. No, not particularly. I see Aurora as a tool, not a lifestyle. I manage my use of it extremely carefully. It helps open my mind and makes me more creative. When I'm on Aurora, I feel like I see connections between things that I'd miss when I'm sober. Some scientists would call me a lunatic for it, but I think they're being too close-minded. Humans have used psychedelics to expand our minds for centuries. I have. One of the first times I tripped, I had a vision I can only describe as cosmic. I saw strange lights and heard this otherworldly music in my head. It felt like I could see all the pieces of reality and understand the connections between them. It was extraordinarily enlightening. I've been incorporating Aurora into my research ever since. If you're open to the idea, you should give it a try too. It's a powerful tool when used correctly. Fine by me. My parents are Trident Luxury Liners execs with more credits to burn than there is helium in the galaxy. My wealth comes from them. But I'm not your typical trust fund baby. My parents cut me off years ago when I refused to live my life the way they wanted me to. I retaliated by hacking their bank accounts, taking enough credits to live the rest of my life comfortably, and leaving home for Neon. We haven't spoken since. They expected me to follow in their footsteps and go into business management. If they had their way, I'd be spending the rest of my life behind a Trident desk. But I can't think of a less fulfilling career than pushing papers. My parents and I disagreed on that, so I took matters into my own hands. Probably, but I'm confident they'll never find me. I changed my name when I left home. I also had my appearance altered at Enhance. That I did for my own benefit, but the anonymity it affords me is a bonus. Heard of Paradiso? It's the most luxurious resort in the galaxy. My parents own one of the penthouses. We lived there full time when I was growing up. Save it. I don't regret what I did. It's not like I left my parents destitute, and we were never close to begin with. I doubt they miss me any more than they miss the credits. Nice chatting with you.
Is it weird that I still get nervous around it?
I could use a more challenging assignment. Am I being reassigned? I need a change of scenery.
How can I be of service, Captain?
It is a relief to know that the Terramorphs are being dealt with. But are you sure this Aseles creature is the right way to do it? This would be the same nature that gave us Terramorphs in the first place. I do not think this is the path I would have chosen. One could easily argue that humans are the superior hunter and therefore are right to exterminate these creatures. The microbes would have put fewer people at risk in the long run. I suppose we shall. Not that it matters, since the decision was made. And I must say, I find it curious that you would agree keeping the Lazarus plant around is a good idea. It seems an additional, unnecessary risk. But you could have changed their minds. They would have listened to you. At least the Freestar Collective will also know of its existence. Otherwise, I worry it would be too tempting for the UC to use as a weapon. Well, it is good to know that this particular threat is behind us, and you have done a service to all who live in the settled systems.
It's very quiet out in space. You would think there would be trumpets wherever you go.
I'm doing an oral history of Constellation's most decorated members. It's
to see
just me repeating your name into a data slate for 5 hours.
Need my help?
All right, I'm game.
Bye, Captain.
A world with living things. It's a treasure.
No indigenous life signs. One less thing to worry about, I suppose.
Ah, you must be the one with the samples then. I'll get these logged ASAP. If you're interested in collecting more, you can speak to Dr. Walker. Oh, and your pay? Here you are. Thank you, Captain. If you're looking to do more collection, you should speak to Dr. Walker.
You are entering United Colony space. Maintain course and prepare to be scanned. Scan complete. Go ahead and land.
So many people, all in one place. I still cannot feel entirely comfortable.
Never a better time than right now to settle down and make New Atlantis home. If you're a citizen, of course.
Well, well, if it isn't the United Colony's newest Class 1 citizen, you've made quite a name for yourself in New Atlantis. In fact, the higher-ups want to thank you for your dedicated service by giving you one of the nicest pieces of real estate in the city. It's a premium penthouse at the top of Mercury Tower. Best location in New Atlantis, in my professional opinion.
What do you say? It'll just take a second to get you registered as the owner.
Great! You're in for a real treat. It's one of my favorite apartments in the city. Okay, you're all set. Your new home's located in Mercury Tower in the residential district. You'll love the place. It has a gorgeous floor plan and an unbeatable view of the city. Now that you're an owner, I'm sure I'll be seeing you around town.
Movie was epic. Definitely better than the last Interceptor.
But why did they replace the handler?
Come on. There are worlds to conquer.